Hey there, friends. Welcome to a super fun story time where we're going to visit a really old place, a medieval castle kitchen. This isn't just any kitchen, it's a busy, smoky, hot spot where cooks work hard to feed everyone in a giant stone castle. Tonight, we're not just reading about history. We're going to feel like we're right there, smelling the food, hearing the pots clang, and meeting the people who make it all happen. So grab a cozy blanket, turn down the lights, and let's jump into this adventure together. Before we start, do something cool. Give this story a big thumbs up if you like exciting trips to the past. Also, tell me in the comments where you're listening from. Are you in a city, a small town, and what time is it where you are? Maybe it's bedtime, or maybe you're sneaking this story during a break. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can come back for more fun stories like this one. Now, let's get ready to step into exciting world of a medieval castle kitchen. Imagine a huge castle made of gray stones, so tall it touches the clouds. This castle is like a tiny city. It has walls to keep everyone safe, towers where guards watch for danger, and a big gate that creaks when it opens. Inside, there are rooms for kings, queens, knights, and servants, but the busiest place, the kitchen, it's where all the food for the whole castle gets made. Without the kitchen, everyone would be super hungry, and nobody wants a grumpy king with an empty tummy. The kitchen is like the heart of the castle. It's warm, loud, and full of action. Picture a big room with stone walls and a giant fireplace. The fire in it never stops burning. It crackles and pops, sending sparks flying. The cooks use it to make soups, breads, and even fancy meals for the king's parties, but it's not an easy job. The kitchen is smoky, and the air smells like burning wood, sizzling meat, and fresh bread all mixed together. Sometimes it's so hot that the cooks' faces turn red, and they wipe sweat off their foreheads with old rags. Let's meet some of the people in this kitchen. There's Emma, a young cook who's super fast at chopping vegetables. She's only 14, but she's already really good at her job. She dreams of making a pie so tasty that the queen will smile at her. Then there's Tom, a big guy who carries heavy sacks of flour and stirs giant pots of stew. He's strong but super kind, always sharing his bread with the younger kids. And don't forget Mistress Agnes, the boss of the kitchen. Now, she's strict and shouts a lot, but she makes sure every meal is perfect. If you burn the soup, watch out, Agnes will make you scrub pots all night. Why is the kitchen so important? Well, think about your school cafeteria. If nobody made lunch, you'd be hungry all day, right? In the castle, it's the same, but way bigger. The cooks feed knights who fight battles, lords who make important decisions, and even the horses sometimes. Every day, they make enough food for hundreds of people. That's a lot of potatoes to peel and a lot of chickens to cook. If the kitchen messes up, everyone gets cranky and the castle feels sad. Now close your eyes for a second and imagine you're standing in that kitchen. You hear pots banging, people shouting, and the fire roaring. You smell bread baking, meat roasting, and maybe a little bit of smoke. Your hands feel warm from the heat and your tummy rumbles because the food smells so good. The floor is made of hard stone and it's a little slippery from spilled water. All around you, cooks are rushing, carrying bowls, stirring soups, and kneading dough. It's like a big, noisy dance, and everyone knows their steps. Let's talk about the castle a bit more. It's not just a house, it's a fortress. A fortress is a super strong building that keeps bad guys out. The walls are so thick you could lie down across them and still not reach the other side. Outside the castle, there's a moat, which is like a big ditch filled with water. It's hard for enemies to cross it, so the castle stays safe. Inside, there are stables for horses, gardens for growing herbs, and even a little church where people pray. But the kitchen, it's the place that keeps everyone going, like the engine in a car. The cooks in the kitchen aren't fancy people like knights or lords. They're regular folks just like you and me. They wake up before the sun rises and work until it's dark. Their hands get rough from scrubbing pots and their clothes get stained with flour and grease. But they're proud of their work. When they see a knight eat their stew and smile, it feels awesome. When the queen says, "This bread is yummy," it's like winning a prize. The cooks might not wear shiny armor, but they're heroes in their own way. Let's take a closer look at what it's like to work in this kitchen. Imagine you're a new cook just starting out. Your job is to carry buckets of water from the well outside. The buckets are heavy and the water sloshes onto your shoes. When you get back, Emma hands you a knife and says, "Chop these onions." You try your best, but the onions make your eyes water and you blink a lot. Tom laughs and says, "Don't worry, kid, you'll get used to it." Then Mistress Agnes walks by and checks your work. As if your onion pieces are too big, she'll make you do it again. It's hard, but you keep trying because you want to be a great cook someday. The kitchen is always busy, but it's not just about cooking. The cooks also clean, carry stuff, and even fix things. If a pot gets a hole, they patch it up. If the fire gets too low, they run to get more wood. Sometimes they have to chase a chicken that escaped from its cage. It's like being a cook, a cleaner, and an adventurer all at once. No wonder the cooks are so tired at the end of the day. But they don't complain too much. They know their job is super important. What kind of food do they make in the kitchen? All sorts. For breakfast, they might make porridge, which is like oatmeal but thicker. For lunch, there's stew with meat, carrots, and herbs. For dinner, they roast a whole pig or bake pies filled with apples. The king and queen get fancy stuff like swan or peacock, but the cooks and servants eat simpler things like bread and cheese. Sometimes, the cooks sneak a taste of the fancy food when nobody's looking. SHH, don't tell Mistress Agnes. The kitchen isn't always a happy place. Sometimes things go wrong. A cook might burn the bread and the smoke makes everyone cough. Or maybe the castle runs out of flour and the cooks have to figure out how to make dinner without it. Once Emma dropped a whole pot of soup and it spilled everywhere. Mistress Agnes was so mad she made Emma clean the floor with a tiny brush. But even when things are tough, the cooks keep going. They're tough too, just like the knights who fight with swords. Let's think about the smells in the kitchen again. Close your eyes and take a big sniff. You might smell the fire, which is smoky and sharp. Then there's the bread, warm and toasty. The meat smells juicy and makes your mouth water. But there are yucky smells too, like old vegetables or dirty water. All those smells mix together, and that's what the kitchen is like every day. It's not a clean, shiny place like a restaurant. It's messy, loud, and full of life. The sounds are just as wild. Listen closely. You hear the fire crackling like little pops and snaps. Pots clang when cooks bang them together. People shout, "Hurry up," or "More wood." Somewhere a knife chops vegetables. Chop, chop, chop. If you listen really hard, you might hear a mouse squeaking in the corner. The kitchen is never quiet. It's like a big band playing music, but instead of guitars, you've got spoons and pots. What about the people outside the kitchen? The castle is full of all kinds of folks. There are knights who wear shiny armor and ride horses. They're brave, but they're always hungry after training. There are ladies who wear long dresses and sing songs. They like to eat tiny cakes the cooks make. The king and queen are the most important. They sit in a big hall and eat off silver plates, but none of them could do their jobs without the cooks. The kitchen is like the secret power that keeps the castle strong. Let's imagine you're walking through the castle to get to the kitchen. You start at the big gate, where guards with spears nod at you. You cross a bridge over the moat, and the water below sparkles in the sun. Then you enter the courtyard, a busy place with horses trotting, kids playing, and merchants selling apples. You smell hay and hear a dog barking. Finally, you reach the kitchen door. It's heavy and made of dark wood. You push it open, and a wave of heat hits your face. You're here, the heart of the castle. Inside, the kitchen feels alive. The walls are black from years of smoke. The ceiling is high, with wooden beams that look strong enough to hold up the whole castle. There are tables covered with bowls, knives, and piles of vegetables. Sacks of flour and barrels of apples sit in the corners. The fireplace is huge, big enough for you to stand inside it. The flames dance and the light makes shadows jump on the walls. It's a little scary, but also exciting, like stepping into a magical world. Let's talk about the cooks' lives. They don't just work in the kitchen, they live in the castle too. Most of them sleep in a small room nearby on beds made of straw. The beds aren't comfy and sometimes bugs crawl on them. Yuck, the cooks don't have much money, so they wear old clothes with patches. Their shoes have holes and their hands are rough from working so hard, but they're not sad all the time. They tell jokes, sing songs, and share stories while they cook. The kitchen is tough, but it's also like a big family. What's it like to be a kid in the kitchen? Some kids, like Emma, start working when they're super young. They might be 10 or 12 years old. Their jobs are small, like sweeping the floor or carrying water, but they learn fast. Soon, they're chopping carrots or stirring soup. Being a kid in the kitchen is hard because you're always busy and the grown-ups are bossy. But it's also fun because you get to eat little bits of food and you make friends with the other kids. Plus, you feel proud when you make something yummy. The kitchen isn't just about food. It's about stories too. Every cook has a tale to tell. Tom says he once saw a ghost in the cellar where they keep the wine. Emma swears she found a gold coin in a sack of potatoes, but she lost it. Mistress Agnes tells stories about the old days when the castle was attacked and the cooks had to make food with almost nothing. These stories make the kitchen feel special, like it's not just a place to work, but a place where adventures happen. Let's think about the castle at night. When the sun goes down, the kitchen gets quieter. Most of the cooks go to bed, but a few stay up to bake bread for the morning. The fire still glows, but it's softer now. Outside, the castle is calm. The knights are sleeping, the horses are in their stables, and the stars shine above the towers. The kitchen feels cozy, like a warm hug. It's the perfect time to sit by the fire and listen to a story, just like we're doing right now. What's cool about the medieval castle kitchen is how different it is from today. Back then, there were no fridges, no microwaves, no pizza delivery. Everything was made by hand. If you wanted bread, you had to mix the dough, knead it, and bake it over a fire. If you wanted soup, you had to chop every single vegetable and stir the pot for hours. It was slow, hard work, but it made the food taste special. The cooks put their hearts into every meal, and that's why the castle loved them. Let's imagine a big feast in the castle. The king is throwing a party and the kitchen is busier than ever. The cooks are making a giant meal: roast deer, fruit pies, and a huge pudding that wiggles when you touch it. Emma is nervous because she's in charge of the pies. Tom is carrying so many plates he looks like a juggler. Mistress Agnes is everywhere, tasting everything and shouting, "Faster!" When the food goes to the great hall, the king claps and everyone cheers. The cooks don't get to see it, but they hear the music and know they did a great job. What would you do if you worked in the kitchen? Would you chop vegetables, stir soup? Maybe you'd be the best at baking bread, or maybe you'd sneak a taste of the king's cake when nobody's looking. In the comments, tell me what job you'd want and why. I bet you'd be awesome at it. Oh, and what food would you make for the queen? Something sweet, like a berry tart, or something hearty, like a big bowl of stew? I'm curious. The kitchen isn't just a place, it's a feeling. It's the warmth of the fire, the laughter of the cooks, the smell of fresh bread. It's the way everyone works together even when they're tired. It's the pride of making something good even if nobody says thank you. The medieval castle kitchen is tough, but it's also full of heart. It's where regular people do amazing things every single day. Before we move on, let's take one last look at the kitchen. Picture yourself standing by the fire, holding a warm loaf of bread. The cooks are smiling at you, happy you're here. The pots are bubbling, the knives are chopping, and the air is full of yummy smells. You're not just visiting, you're part of this world now. You can feel the heat, hear the noise, and taste the food. This is the medieval castle kitchen, and it's waiting for you to explore it. Thanks for coming on this adventure with me. I'm so excited to share more of this world with you. In the next part, we'll wake up in the castle and see what it's like to start the day as a cook. We'll hear funny noises, smell weird stuff, and maybe even get in trouble with Mistress Agnes. So stick around, keep your blanket close, and let's keep exploring. Don't forget to like this story, subscribe for more, and tell me what you think in the comments. Until next time, sleep tight and dream of castles, fires, and the best bread you've ever tasted. You open your eyes and the world feels loud and alive. It's early morning in a medieval castle kitchen and you're waking up to a wild mix of sounds. Iron pots bang together, making a sharp, clanging noise. A big fire in the corner snaps and pops like tiny fireworks. Someone nearby shouts, "Hurry with that water," and footsteps thump on the stone floor. The air smells funny, smoky, like a campfire, but also sweaty, like gym clothes left in a bag too long. You're lying on a straw pallet, which is just a lumpy mattress stuffed with dry grass. It's not soft at all. It's bumpy, and when you move, it feels wet and cold, like sleeping on a soggy towel. You shiver a little, but the castle around you is already buzzing, ready to start the day. Your pallet sits in a shadowy corner of the kitchen. It's not a fancy bed like you have at home. It's just a pile of straw wrapped in a rough cloth pushed against the wall. The wall is made of big gray stones, cold when you touch them. Above you, the ceiling is high with dark wooden beams that look super strong. The kitchen is huge, like a gym, but it's messy and warm. The fire in the giant fireplace glows bright, sending light dancing across the room. You see tables covered with bowls, knives, and piles of carrots. Sacks of flour lean against the wall, and a basket of apples spills onto the floor. The whole place feels busy, even though it's barely morning. You sit up, rubbing your eyes. Your body feels stiff from sleeping on the hard pallet. The straw pokes through the cloth, scratching your arms. You hear a tiny squeak, a mouse darting across the floor. It's quick, disappearing into a crack in the wall. You smile because it's kind of cute, but you know Mistress Agnes, the kitchen boss, would be mad if she saw it. She's super strict about keeping the kitchen clean. You take a deep breath, and the smoky air tickles your nose. There's another smell too, something earthy, like dirt or old vegetables. It's not a bad smell, just different, like stepping into a new world. Your blanket is thin and scratchy, not cozy like a fleece one. You push it off and stand up, feeling the cold stone floor under your bare feet. BRR, it's chilly, like stepping on ice. You look around for your shoes, which are just simple leather slippers with holes in them. You slide them on and they feel a little damp, probably from yesterday's spills. Nearby, other cooks are waking up too. Emma, a young girl with messy brown hair, is already tying her apron. No, she's fast and always smiling, even this early. Tom, a big guy with strong arms, is stretching and yawning. He carries heavy stuff like sacks of grain and never complains. You like them both, they're like your kitchen friends. Now it's time to get dressed. You grab your tunic, which is like a long shirt that goes past your knees. It's made of wool, rough and heavy, not soft like a t-shirt. When you pull it on, it rubs your skin, making it itch a little. The tunic is stained with grease spots from yesterday's cooking. You don't have a mirror, but you pat your hair down, hoping it's not too messy. You tie a cloth belt around your waist to keep the tunic from flapping. It's not fancy, but it's what everyone wears in the kitchen. You feel ready to start the day, even if your tummy is rumbling for breakfast. The kitchen is starting to get louder. A pot falls with a loud crash and someone laughs. The fire crackles and you hear a sizzling sound, maybe someone's frying bacon. You walk closer to the fireplace and the heat washes over you, warming your face. The flames are tall, licking the sides of a huge black cauldron. Inside, water bubbles, getting ready for soup. The fireplace is so big you could stand inside it, but you wouldn't want to, it's way too hot. The sparks fly up and you step back, careful not to get burned. The light from the fire makes the kitchen glow like a cozy cave. You look around and see the other cooks moving fast. Emma is chopping onions, her knife going chop chop chop. Her eyes are watery, but she keeps going. Tom is hauling a big bucket of water, his muscles bulging. Mistress Agnes stands by the door watching everyone. Her arms are crossed and her face looks serious. She's the boss and nobody wants to make her mad. If you spill something or burn the bread, she'll make you scrub pots until your hands hurt. But she's fair too. If you do a good job, she might nod and say, "Not bad." That's like getting a gold star in the kitchen. You hear a new sound, a loud creak from the kitchen door. It's heavy, made of dark wood, and it groans when it opens. A boy runs in, carrying a basket of eggs. Some are cracked, and he looks nervous, probably scared of Mistress Agnes. You giggle quietly because you've been in trouble like that before. The boy sets the eggs on a table and runs back out. The door swings shut with a thud and the kitchen feels a little quieter, but not for long. Someone starts pounding dough, making a thump 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 sound. It's like the kitchen has its own music, and everyone's playing along. You decide to step outside for a moment, just to see what's happening in the courtyard. You push open the door and a cool breeze hits your face. It's early and the sky is still a little dark, with pink clouds on the horizon. The courtyard is a big open space like a playground, but way busier. It's surrounded by the castle's tall stone walls, which make you feel safe but also small. The ground is made of dirt and cobblestones, uneven under your feet. You take a few steps and your shoes crunch on the stones. It's a fun sound, like walking on gravel. The courtyard is full of action. A cart pulled by 2 oxen rolls by, its wheels rumbling like thunder. The oxen are huge, with shaggy brown fur, and they snort as they walk. The cart is piled with barrels, probably full of apples or grain for the kitchen. You wave at the driver, an old man with a gray beard. He nods back, but he's busy steering the oxen. Nearby, chickens cluck and flap their wings, chasing each other in circles. One pecks at the ground, looking for crumbs. You laugh because they're so silly, but you know those chickens will end up in tonight's stew. Servants are everywhere, rushing around like ants. A girl carries a bucket of water, splashing it on her dress. A man hauls a stack of firewood, his face red from the effort. 2 kids run past, giggling and tossing a small ball. You dodge them, not wanting to get knocked over. The air out here smells different, fresher, with a hint of hay and horse. You take a big sniff and feel your lungs fill up. It's nice to be outside, even if it's just for a minute. The courtyard feels alive, like it's the heart of the castle, pumping energy to every corner. You look up at the castle walls. They're so tall they block part of the sky. At the top, you see a guard walking, his spear glinting in the early light. He's watching for danger, making sure the castle stays safe. The walls have little windows, too small to climb through, but big enough for archers to shoot arrows if enemies come. You shiver, not because it's cold, but because the castle feels so strong, like a giant protecting everyone inside. You're just a cook, but you're part of this big, important place. Back inside, the kitchen is even busier now. You close the door and the heat wraps around you again. Your tunic sticks to your skin and you wipe your forehead with your sleeve. The smells hit you all at once: smoke from the fire, onions from Emma's chopping, and something sweet, maybe apples being peeled. You walk to a table where a woman is kneading dough. Her hands are covered in flour and she hums a little song. You like her. She's kind and sometimes gives you a piece of bread when nobody's looking. You say good morning and she smiles, showing a missing tooth. Your first job today is to fetch water. Mistress Agnes points to a bucket and says, "Go to the well and be quick." You grab the bucket, which is heavy even when it's empty. It's made of wood with a rope handle that digs into your hand. You head back to the courtyard, weaving through the crowd. The well is in the corner, a round stone circle with a wooden roof. You lean over and see your reflection in the dark water below. It's cold down there and you hope the bucket doesn't slip. You lower it carefully, hearing a splash when it hits the water. Then you pull it up, hand over hand, feeling your arms ache. The bucket comes up full and water sloshes over the side, soaking your shoes. Oops. You carry the bucket back to the kitchen, trying not to spill more. The water is heavy and your arms shake a little. When you get inside, you pour it into a big pot over the fire. The water hisses as it touches the hot metal. Emma claps and says, "Good job." You feel proud, even though it's just water. Every little thing you do helps the kitchen keep going. You set the bucket down and catch your breath. Your hands are red from the rope, but you don't mind. You're part of the team now. Let's think about why mornings are so busy in the castle. Imagine your school on a big day, like when there's a special event. Everyone's running around, getting ready right The castle is like that every day. The knights need food to be strong for training. The king and queen want breakfast before they make important decisions. Even the horses need oats from the kitchen. If the cooks don't start early, the whole castle would be hungry and grumpy. That's why you woke up to all those sounds. Everyone's working together to make the day go smoothly. What's it like to be you in this kitchen? You're not a knight or a princess. You're just a kid, maybe 12 years old, learning to be a cook. Your hands are small, but they're getting stronger every day. Your tunic is too big and it flaps when you run. You're always a little tired because you wake up so early, but you like the kitchen. It's warm, it's loud, and it's full of people who feel like family. When you stir a pot or carry water, you know you're helping the castle stay strong. It's hard work, but it makes you feel important. Let's imagine a little story about your morning. Yesterday, you accidentally spilled flour all over the floor. Mistress Agnes was not happy. She made you sweep it up, and it took forever. Today, you're extra careful. When you carry the water, you walk slowly, watching every step. But then Tom bumps into you by mistake, and a little water splashes out. You freeze, thinking Mistress Agnes will yell, but Tom winks and says, "I'll clean it up, kid." You smile, relieved. Tom's nice like that. He's like a big brother, always looking out for you. The kitchen is full of little moments like that. Emma might share a carrot stick with you when nobody's looking. The woman kneading dough might tell you a funny story about a cat that stole a fish. Even Mistress Agnes, who's so strict, sometimes pats your head when you do a good job. The kitchen is tough, but it's also a place where people care about each other. You're not alone, you're part of a big, noisy team. Let's take a closer look at the courtyard again. You step outside one more time because you need to grab some herbs from the garden. The air is cool and the sky is brighter now with a few clouds floating by. The courtyard is still busy. A dog barks chasing a chicken. A woman sells apples from a cart, her voice loud as she calls fresh fruit. You see a knight walking by, his armor clinking with every step. He looks strong, but you know he's hungry for the stew you'll help make later. Everyone in the courtyard is doing something important, just like you. The herb garden is small, tucked against the castle wall. You kneel down and pick some green leaves, parsley and thyme. They smell sharp and fresh like a forest. You stuff them in your pocket and head back to the kitchen. On the way you pass a stable where horses neigh. The smell of hay is strong and you sneeze. A stable boy waves at you and you wave back. The courtyard is like a big puzzle and every person is a piece that fits together. Back in the kitchen, the smells are stronger now. The fire's smoke mixes with the scent of boiling water and chopped herbs. You hand the parsley and thyme to Emma, who's making soup. She says thanks and tosses the herbs into a pot. You watch them sink into the bubbling water and it feels good to know you help. The kitchen is like a machine and you're one of the gears that keeps it running. Every bucket of water, every herb, every stir of the pot matters. What would you do if you woke up in this kitchen? Would you like carrying water or would you rather chop vegetables? Maybe you'd want to stir the soup or sneak a taste of bread. In the comments, tell me what job you pick and why. I bet you'd be great at something. Oh, and what's the yummiest thing you'd want to smell in the kitchen? Fresh bread, roasting meat, or maybe something sweet like apple pie? I'm curious to know. The kitchen feels like a world of its own, but it's part of something bigger. The castle is huge, with towers that touch the sky and halls where music plays at night. Outside the walls, there's a village where farmers grow wheat and raise cows. The kitchen takes all that food and turns it into meals that keep everyone happy. You're just one person, but your work touches the whole castle. That's pretty cool, right? Let's think about the sounds again. Close your eyes and listen. You hear the fire snapping, like twigs breaking, pots clang, spoons scrape, and knives chop. Someone laughs and someone else grumbles about a burned finger. Outside, the courtyard adds its own noises, oxen snorting, chickens clucking, and carts rolling. It's like a big song, and every sound is a note. The kitchen is never quiet, but you like it that way. It makes you feel alive. The smells are just as wild. Take a big sniff. The smoke from the fire is sharp, like a barbecue. The herbs smell green and fresh, like a garden. There's a warm, toasty scent from bread baking in an oven. But there are yucky smells, too, like old water or sweaty clothes. All those smells mix together, and that's what makes the kitchen special. It's not clean or perfect. It's real, like a place where people live and work hard. Your tunic is getting hot now, sticking to your back. You wipe your hands on it, leaving a smudge of dirt. Your shoes are wet from the water you spilled, and your hair is messy from running around. You're tired already, and the day's just starting. But you don't mind. The kitchen is your home, and the cooks are your family. You know that by the end of the day, you'll have helped make food for the whole castle. That's something to be proud of. Let's imagine you're standing by the fire watching the flames. The heat makes your cheeks red and you squint because the light is so bright. Emma walks by and hands you a small piece of bread. "Eat quick," she whispers, before Agnes sees. You pop it in your mouth and it's warm and chewy, the best thing you've tasted all day. You smile at Emma and she grins back. Moments like this make the hard work worth it. The kitchen is full of little secrets and tiny joys. The courtyard is still busy outside. You hear a bell ring, which means the castle gates are opening. Merchants are coming in with carts of fish, cheese, and cloth. The castle needs all that stuff to keep going, just like the kitchen needs water and herbs. You think about how big the world is. Beyond the courtyard, beyond the walls, there are forests, rivers, and other castles. But right now, your world is this kitchen, this fire, these people. And that's enough. The morning is moving fast. Mistress Agnes claps her hands and says, "Get to work." You jump, not wanting to get in trouble. Your next job is to sweep the floor, which is covered in flour and vegetable scraps. You grab a broom, its handle smooth from years of use. You sweep carefully, making little piles of dirt. It's not a fun job, but you do it well because you want to make Agnes proud. The broom swishes across the stone, and you hum a little tune to make it more fun. Every person in the kitchen is doing something. Tom is stacking firewood by the hearth. Emma is stirring a pot, her face red from the heat. The woman kneading dough is shaping loaves, her hands quick and sure. A boy runs in with more eggs, and this time none are broken. Everyone moves like they're part of a big dance, each step planned and perfect. You're part of it too, with your broom and your bucket. It feels good to belong. The castle is waking up now. You hear distant horns, which means the knights are starting their training. Soon they'll be hungry and the kitchen will need to have food ready. You think about the stew you'll help make later, thick with carrots, peas, and beef. Your mouth waters just thinking about it. The kitchen is hard work, but it's also about making yummy things that make people happy. That's why you keep going, even when you're tired. Let's take one last look at the kitchen before we move on. Picture yourself standing by the door looking at the busy room. The fire glows, the pots bubble, and the cooks rush around. The air is warm and smoky, full of smells that make you hungry. Your tunic is dirty, your hands are sore, but your heart is full. This is the medieval castle kitchen, and you're part of its magic. It's not just a place, it's a living, breathing world that needs you. Thanks for waking up with me in this amazing kitchen. The day's just starting, and there's so much more to see and do. Next, we'll find out what it's like to get water, make food, and survive in this crazy castle. So stay cozy, keep listening, and let's keep exploring this wild, wonderful world together. The morning in the medieval castle kitchen is busy, and to stay strong, you need water and food. The survival here isn't easy, but it starts with simple things like fetching a bucket of water and eating a quick breakfast. You grab a wooden bucket, its handle rough and cold in your hands, and head out to get water. The kitchen door creaks as you push it open, and you step into the courtyard where the ground is covered with uneven stones and patches of mud. You walk carefully, watching your feet so you don't slip on the wet cobbles. They're slimy from last night's rain, and you don't want to fall and spill the bucket. The courtyard is alive with people and animals. A girl, a scullery maid who helps clean dishes, rushes past you, her arms full of dirty pots. She's in such a hurry that she almost bumps into you, and you jump to the side, clutching your bucket tightly. You smile because it's always like this in the morning. Everyone's running, shouting, and working fast. The air out here is cool and smells like fresh dirt, mixed with the scent of hay from the nearby stables. You hear chickens clucking and a dog barking in the distance. The castle is waking up, and you're part of its energy. You make your way to the stone well, which sits in a quiet corner of the courtyard. The well is round, built from gray rocks stacked tightly together. It has a little wooden roof to keep rain out, and a rope hangs over the edge tied to a crank. You lean over and see dark water far below, sparkling a little in the morning light. It looks cold, and you shiver just thinking about it. You set your bucket down and grab the rope, lowering it slowly into the well. The rope scratches your hands, but you hold on tight. When the bucket hits the water, you hear a soft splash like a pebble dropping into a pond. You wait a moment, letting the bucket fill, then start pulling it up. Pulling the rope is hard work. Your arms ache, and the bucket feels heavier now that it's full. Water sloshes inside, and you try to keep it steady so it doesn't spill. The crank squeaks as you turn it, and your hands get red from gripping the rope. Finally, the bucket reaches the top, and you grab it, careful not to let it tip over. Water drips onto the stones, making them shiny. You're proud of yourself. You got the water without falling or spilling too much. But your shoes are wet now, and your tunic is damp from a few splashes. Oh well, that's life in the castle. You lift the bucket, which is super heavy, and start walking back to the kitchen. The courtyard is even busier now. A cart rolls by, pulled by a big ox that snorts loudly. The cart is loaded with sacks of grain, and the driver yells, "Move aside." You step out of the way, holding your bucket close. A group of kids chases a loose chicken, laughing as it flaps its wings. You giggle because it's funny, but you keep walking, knowing Mistress Agnes, the kitchen boss, will be mad if you're slow. The stones under your feet are still slippery, and you take small steps to stay safe. When you reach the kitchen door, you push it open with your shoulder, and a wave of warm air hits you. The kitchen is hot from the big fire burning in the fireplace. You smell smoke like a campfire mixed with the warm scent of bread baking. Your tummy rumbles and you realize you're hungry. You carry the bucket to a big iron pot hanging over the fire and pour the water in. It hisses as it touches the hot metal and steam rises, making your face feel damp. You set the bucket down and wipe your hands on your tunic, leaving a wet smear. Emma, a young cook with a friendly smile, sees you and says, "Nice job, that's for the porridge." You grin, happy to help. Now it's time for breakfast, but first, the cooks need to make it. Breakfast in the castle isn't fancy like pancakes or cereal. It's simple stuff that fills you up for a long day of work. Today, you're eating rye bread and barley porridge. Rye bread is dark and heavy, not soft like the bread you buy at a store. Porridge is like oatmeal, but it's made from barley grains and water, so it's thin and a little lumpy. The cooks are already working on it, and you get to help. You walk to a wooden table where Tom, a strong cook with big hands, is kneading dough for the bread. Kneading means pushing and folding the dough to make it smooth. Tom's arms move fast and the dough looks like a big squishy ball. He sprinkles flour on the table so the dough doesn't stick and the air gets dusty. You sneeze and Tom laughs, saying, "Watch out, kid." You like Tom, he's kind and always makes you feel better when you're tired. You grab a small piece of dough and help shape it into a round loaf. It's sticky and cool and your fingers get covered in flour. You pat the loaf and set it on a tray to bake later. Nearby, Emma is stirring a pot of porridge. The pot is huge, like a witch's cauldron, and it hangs over the fire. She uses a long wooden spoon to mix the barley and water, and her face is red from the heat. You walk over and peek inside. The porridge looks gray and bubbly, not very exciting, but it's what keeps everyone strong. Emma hands you the spoon and says, "Your turn." You grab it, and the spoon feels warm from the steam. You stir slowly, watching the porridge swirl. It's hard to keep the spoon moving because the mixture is thick, but you don't give up. Emma nods and says, "Good work." You feel proud, like you're a real cook. The bread is baking now, and the kitchen smells amazing. The oven is built into the wall, with a fire inside that makes it super hot. A woman named Meg slides the dough loaves into the oven using a long wooden paddle. The loaves sizzle as they touch the hot stone, and you hear a soft crackle. Meg wipes her forehead with a rag and says, "These will be ready soon." You can't wait to taste the bread, even if it's tough and chewy. It's better than nothing, and your tummy is growling louder now. While the bread bakes, you help set up for breakfast. You grab a stack of wooden bowls from a shelf and place them on a table. The bowls are rough and scratched, not shiny like plates at home. You also find some spoons carved from wood with handles that feel smooth in your hand. You set one spoon by each bowl, making sure everyone gets one. The cooks don't eat in a fancy dining room. They sit on benches right in the kitchen near the fire. It's warm and cozy, even if the floor is dirty and the air is smoky. Finally, breakfast is ready. Meg pulls the bread from the oven and the loaves are dark brown with crusts that look hard but smell so good. She cuts them into thick slices using a big knife and the bread makes a crunchy sound as the blade goes through. Emma ladles porridge into the bowls and it plops in looking lumpy but warm. You grab a bowl and a slice of bread and find a spot on a bench. The other cooks sit down too. And for a moment, the kitchen is quieter. Everyone's tired from the morning work, and this is a rare chance to rest. You look at your food. The porridge is thin like soup and it's not very pretty. The bread is heavy in your hand with a rough crust that scratches your fingers. You also get a small cup of ale, which is a drink made from grains. It's sour, not sweet like juice, but it's what everyone drinks because the water isn't always clean. You take a tiny sip and it tastes sharp, making your nose wrinkle. You don't love it, but it's part of life in the castle. You set the cup down and focus on the food. You dip your spoon into the porridge and take a bite. It's warm but plain, with a gritty feel like eating wet sand. It's not yummy, but it fills your tummy, and that's what matters. You chew slowly, letting the warmth spread through you. The kitchen is loud again, with pots clanging and people talking, but you feel calm for a moment. You take a bite of the rye bread and it's tough, like chewing a thick cracker. The crust is hard and your jaw works hard to break it down. The inside is dense with a slightly nutty taste that's better than the porridge. You munch quietly, enjoying the rare moment of peace. You look around at the other cooks. Emma is eating fast, probably because she has to start chopping vegetables soon. Tom takes big bites of bread, crumbs falling onto his tunic. Mistress Agnes isn't eating yet. She's walking around, checking the pots and making sure nobody's slacking. You catch her eye and she nods, which means you're doing okay. You smile and take another bite of bread, feeling a little proud. The kitchen is tough, but you're keeping up. Let's think about why food and water are so important. Imagine if your family didn't have dinner tonight. You'd be hungry, right? In the castle, it's the same, but way bigger. The cooks feed hundreds of people, knights, servants, even the king and queen. Without water, they can't make soup or porridge. Without food, everyone gets weak and cranky. The kitchen is like the castle's stomach, keeping it strong and happy. Every bucket you carry and every bite you eat helps the castle survive another day. The kitchen isn't just about eating, it's about working together. You carried the water, Emma stirred the porridge, Tom kneaded the bread, and Meg baked it. Everyone has a job, and if one person messes up, the whole kitchen suffers. Yesterday, a boy forgot to bring water and the porridge was late. Mistress Agnes was so mad she made him scrub the floor. You're careful not to make mistakes like that. You want to be a good part of the team. What's it like to eat in the kitchen? It's not like sitting at a table with a napkin and a glass of milk. The bench is hard and your bowl wobbles on the uneven table. The fire makes the room hot and sweat trickles down your back. The air is smoky and sometimes you cough, but it's also kind of nice. The cooks are your friends and you share little jokes while you eat. Emma might nudge you and say, "Bet I can eat faster." Tom might tell a story about a time he ate a whole loaf of bread by himself. These moments make the hard work feel worth it. Let's imagine a little story about breakfast. This morning, you're so hungry that you try to sneak an extra piece of bread. You wait until Mistress Agnes isn't looking, then grab a small slice from the table. You hide it under your bowl and take a quick bite. It's so good, warm and crusty. But then Emma sees you and giggles. "You're gonna get in trouble," she whispers. You blush, but you're not really scared. Emma won't tell, and the bread was worth it. You finish your porridge and hope Agnes doesn't notice the missing slice. The kitchen is full of smells while you eat. The fire gives off a sharp, smoky scent that stings your nose. The bread has a warm, toasty smell that makes you hungry even after you're done. The porridge doesn't smell like much, just a faint, grainy scent. There's also a whiff of herbs from a pot nearby, fresh and green. Sometimes you catch a bad smell, like old water or dirty rags, but you're used to it. The kitchen is a mix of good and yucky smells, and that's just how it is. The sounds are wild too. Even during breakfast, the kitchen doesn't stop. You hear the fire crackling like twigs snapping, pots bang as someone cleans them. A knife chops vegetables, chop, chop, chop. Outside, the courtyard adds its own noises. A horse neighs, a cart rumbles, and someone shouts, "More wood." The cooks talk and laugh, their voices mixing with the clatter. It's like a big, noisy party, even if everyone's just eating and working. Your tunic is getting dirty now, with crumbs on it and a splash of porridge from when you stirred the pot. Your hands are sticky from the dough and your shoes are still wet from the well. You're tired and it's not even noon, but you don't mind too much. The food in your tummy makes you feel stronger and the kitchen feels like home. You finish your bread and take a last sip of the sour ale, making a face because it's so sharp. Then you stand up, ready for the next job. What would you eat for breakfast if you lived in the castle? Would you like the gritty porridge or would you want more bread? Maybe you wish for something sweet like honey or apples. In the comments, tell me what you'd eat and why. I bet you'd find something yummy in the kitchen. Oh, and what job would you want? Fetching water or making bread? I'm curious to know. The kitchen is tough, but it's also special. Every bucket of water you carry helps make food. Every bite you eat gives you energy to keep going. The castle depends on the kitchen, and the kitchen depends on you. You're just a kid, but you're part of something big. The knights might fight battles and the king might make laws, but without the cooks, none of them could do their jobs. That's pretty cool, right? Let's take one last look at breakfast. Picture yourself sitting on the bench holding a warm bowl of porridge. The fire glows, making the kitchen cozy. Emma is laughing, Tom is telling a joke, and even Mistress Agnes looks a little less grumpy. The bread is chewy, the ale is sour, but your tummy is full. The kitchen is loud and smoky, but it's your place where you work and eat and belong. This is the medieval castle kitchen, and you're helping it survive. Thanks for joining me to fetch water and eat breakfast in this busy kitchen. The day's just getting started, and there's so much more to do. Next, we'll find out what it's like to work hard, using tools and making things for the castle. So stay cozy, keep listening, and let's keep exploring this wild, wonderful world together. The medieval castle kitchen is buzzing, and it's time to work hard. Your hands wrap around a big wooden spoon, its handle smooth from years of use. You're standing by a huge iron cauldron, a giant pot hanging over a roaring fire. Inside, pottage, a kind of thick soup, bubbles and steams. You push the spoon into the mixture and your arms feel the weight. It's heavy, like mixing thick mud. Your muscles ache as you move the spoon in circles, blending the barley, peas, and bits of meat. The pottage hisses and hot steam rises, making your face warm and damp. You squint because the heat stings your eyes, but you keep mixing, knowing this food will feed the whole castle. The fire under the cauldron crackles, spitting tiny sparks that glow and fade. A log snaps, sending a puff of smoke into the air. You cough a little, but you're used to it. The kitchen is hot, and sweat trickles down your back, soaking your tunic. The tunic is rough wool, already stained with grease and flour. You wipe your forehead with your sleeve, leaving a smudge of dirt. Every splash of the pottage feels like it's talking to you. A bubble pops and a drop lands on your hand. Ouch. It's hot, but you shake it off and keep going. This isn't just a job, it's a big part of keeping the castle alive. You're not alone in the kitchen. All around, other cooks are working just as hard. A boy named Will, his face streaked with black soot, turns a spit by the fire. The spit is a long metal rod with a chunk of meat on it, roasting slowly. Will's hands grip the handle and he turns it steadily, making sure the meat cooks evenly. His shirt is dirty and his hair sticks to his sweaty forehead. He looks tired, but he doesn't stop. The meat sizzles and a yummy smell fills the air, making your tummy rumble. Will catches your eye and grins, showing a gap where a tooth is missing. You smile back, happy to be part of the team. Nearby, Mistress Agnes, the head cook, shouts orders. Her voice is loud and sharp, like a teacher calling out in class. "Chop faster, Emma, don't let that bread burn, Meg," she barks. Agnes is strict, with gray hair tied in a tight bun. Her apron is clean, unlike yours, and her eyes miss nothing. If you spill the pottage, she'll make you scrub pots all night. But she's fair too. When you do a good job, she nods, and that feels like a prize. You try to mix the pottage carefully. Hopping Agnes will see your hard work. The kitchen is like a busy beehive, with everyone doing something important. Emma, a young cook with quick hands, chops carrots on a wooden table. Her knife goes chop 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 and orange pieces fly into a bowl. She hums a little song, even though her face is red from the heat. Tom, a strong man with big shoulders, carries a stack of firewood to the hearth. His boots thud on the stone floor and he grunts as he drops the logs. The fire flares brighter and the room gets even hotter. Everyone's sweating, but nobody complains. You're all working together to feed the lords, knights, and servants of the castle. Let's talk about the pottage you're mixing. Pottage is a simple soup made from whatever the kitchen has: grains like barley, vegetables like peas or onions, and sometimes a little meat if you're lucky. It's not fancy, but it's what most people in the castle eat. You stir harder, feeling the spoon dig into the thick mixture. Your arms are sore and your hands hurt from gripping the handle. The pottage bubbles louder now and a big bubble pops, splashing your wrist. It burns, but you bite your lip and keep mixing. You want the pottage to be perfect so everyone can eat well today. The kitchen is full of sounds. The fire snaps and pops like a tiny thunderstorm. The pottage gurgles in the cauldron like a frog in a pond. Will's spit creaks as he turns it, and the meat hisses as fat drips into the flames. Emma's knife chops steadily, and Tom's firewood clunks as he stacks it. Agnes's voice cuts through it all, telling everyone what to do. Outside, you hear faint noises from the courtyard, horses neighing, carts rolling, and servants shouting. The kitchen is never quiet, but you like the noise. It makes you feel like you're part of something big. The smells are strong too. Take a deep sniff. The pottage smells earthy, like wet dirt mixed with vegetables. The roasting meat on the spit gives off a rich, juicy scent that makes your mouth water. The fire adds a sharp, smoky smell like a campfire. There's also a warm, toasty scent from bread baking in the oven. Sometimes you catch a whiff of something yucky like old water or sweaty clothes, but it's part of the kitchen. All these smells mix together, and that's what makes this place feel alive. Your tunic is sticking to your skin now, wet with sweat. Your hands are red from holding the spoon and your back aches from standing so long. You're only a kid, maybe 12 years old, but you're working as hard as the grown-ups. Your shoes are dirty from the floor, which is covered in flour and vegetable scraps. You're tired, but you don't stop. You know the pottage is important. The knights need it to be strong for battles. The servants need it to keep working. Even the king and queen might taste it if there's extra. You're not just mixing soup, you're helping the whole castle. Let's imagine you're still stirring the pottage. Your arms are so tired they feel like jelly. You look into the cauldron and the soup is getting thicker with green peas and yellow barley swirling around. You smile because it's starting to look good. Emma walks by and peeks in. "Nice job," she says, giving you a thumbs up. You feel proud even though your hands hurt. Then Agnes comes over, her eyes narrow as she inspects the pottage. She dips a small spoon in, tastes it, and nods. "Not bad," she says. Your heart jumps. That's high praise from Agnes. You keep stirring, feeling like a real cook. Now let's explore the other jobs in the kitchen. Will, the boy at the spit, has a tough task. Turning the spit means keeping the meat moving so it doesn't burn. The handle is heavy and the fire is so hot that Will's face is shiny with sweat. He's only 10, but he's strong for his age. Sometimes he sings a little song to make the work fun. You like Will, he's always cheerful, even when his hands blister from the handle. You wave at him and he sticks out his tongue, making you laugh. The meat smells so good, but you know it's for the lords, not you. Emma's job is chopping vegetables. She's fast, her knife flashing as it cuts carrots, onions, and cabbages. The table is covered with peels and scraps, and her hands are stained orange from the carrots. She's 14 and she wants to be a head cook someday. Emma's smart, she knows how to make pottage taste better with a pinch of herbs. You watch her for a moment, amazed at how quick she is. She catches you starring and tosses a carrot stick at you. "Eat it," she says, laughing. You catch it and take a bite. It's crunchy and sweet, a nice break from the heat. Tom's job is carrying heavy stuff. Right now, he's hauling a sack of flour from the storeroom. The sack is big, almost as tall as you, and Tom slings it over his shoulder like it's nothing. His face is red and he grunts as he walks. Tom's the strongest cook in the kitchen, but he's gentle, too. Once he helped you carry a bucket when your arms were too tired. You like Tom, he's like a big brother. He drops the flour sack by a table and wipes his hands on his apron. "Need help?" he asks you. You shake your head, but you're glad he offered. There's also Meg, who's baking bread. She's older, with gray streaks in her hair, and she's super good at making loaves. She's shaping dough into round shapes, her hands quick and sure. The oven is hot, and Meg's face is flushed as she slides the loaves in with a long paddle. The bread smells so good, like a warm hug. Meg hums as she works, and you like listening to her. She's kind, sometimes sneaking you a crust when nobody's looking. You hope you can be as good as Meg someday. The kitchen is full of other jobs, too. A girl named Bess scrubs pots with a rag, her hands red from the cold water. A boy named Jack sweeps the floor, pushing flour and dirt into piles. Another cook, an old man named End, grinds barley with a stone, his arms moving in slow circles. Everyone's busy and everyone's sweating. The kitchen is like a big machine, and each person is a part that keeps it running. You're part of it too, with your spoon and your pottage. It feels good to belong. Let's think about why this work matters. Imagine your school is having a big game and everyone needs energy to play. The kitchen is like the team that makes snacks for the players. Without the cooks, the knights couldn't fight, the servants couldn't clean, and the lords couldn't make decisions. The pottage you're mixing will go to the great hall where important people eat. Even the servants, like you, get a bowl. Your work keeps the castle strong, and that's a big deal. You're not just a kid, you're a hero in the kitchen. The heat is getting to you now. Your face feels like it's burning and your tunic is wet with sweat. You shift your weight from one foot to the other, trying to ease the ache in your legs. Your hands are sore and the spoon feels heavier every minute, but you don't give up. You think about the people who'll eat the pottage, Will, Emma, Tom, maybe even a Knight. You want them to like it, to feel full and happy. That thought keeps you going, even when you're tired. Let's imagine a little story about your work. Yesterday you stirred the pottage too fast and it splashed onto the floor. Mistress Agnes was so mad she made you clean it up with a tiny rag. Today you're extra careful. You move the spoon slowly, watching the soup swirl. But then Will bumps into you by accident and a little pottage sloshes over the edge. You freeze, thinking Agnes will yell, but Will whispers, "I'll say it was me." You smile, relieved. Will's a good friend and you're lucky to have him. The kitchen is full of little moments like that. Emma might share a piece of carrot with you. Tom might pat your shoulder when you carry something heavy. Meg might hum a song that makes you feel calm. Even Agnes, who's so strict, sometimes gives you a small smile when you work hard. The kitchen is tough, but it's also a place where people help each other. You're not alone, you're part of a big, sweaty, noisy family. What would you do in the kitchen? Would you stir the pottage like you're doing now? Or would you rather turn the spit like Will? Maybe you'd chop vegetables with Emma or carry firewood with Tom. In the comments, tell me what job you pick and why. I bet you'd be awesome at something. Oh, and what food would you want to make for the castle? A big pot of soup, a loaf of bread, or maybe something fancy like a pie? I'm curious to know. The kitchen never stops. Even as you stir, new tasks pop up. Bess needs more water for the pots. Jack sweeps dirt into a corner, but it gets messy again. En's barley is ready and he pours it into a sack. Agnes walks by, checking everything. "Keep that pottage moving," she says to you. You nod and stir faster, even though your arms are screaming. The kitchen is like a river, always flowing, and you have to keep up with the current. Let's take a closer look at the cauldron. It's black and heavy, hanging from a chain over the fire. The pottage inside is thick now, with chunks of vegetables floating in it. You lean closer and the steam makes your face feel wet. The soup smells good, like a garden mixed with meat. You imagine the servants eating it, their faces happy as they take a bite. You stir a little more, making sure it's perfect. The spoon is heavy, but you feel strong, like you're doing something important. The fire is the heart of the kitchen. It's big, with flames that dance and leap. Logs burn bright and ashes fall to the hearth. Tom adds another log and the fire roars louder, sending heat everywhere. You step back, wiping sweat from your eyes. The fire is beautiful, but it's also dangerous. Once a cook got too close and burned her hand. You're careful, keeping your tunic away from the flames. The fire gives the kitchen life, but it demands respect. The kitchen floor is messy, covered with flour, vegetable peels, and bits of ash. Jack's sweeping, but it's hard to keep clean. Your shoes stick to the floor sometimes, and you have to pull them free. The tables are just as bad, piled with bowls, knives, and food scraps. The kitchen isn't pretty, but it's busy, and that's what matters. You like the mess. It means people are working hard, making food for everyone. Let's think about the castle again. Outside the kitchen, the castle is huge, with tall towers and thick walls. Knights train in the courtyard, their swords clanging. Servants clean rooms and carry messages. The king and queen sit in a big hall, planning important things, but none of them could do their jobs without the kitchen. The pottage you're mixing, the bread Meg's baking, the meat Will's roasting, it all keeps the castle going. You're proud to be part of it, even if your arms hurt and your face is sweaty. The day is moving fast. The pottage is almost done and you give it one last stir. Your hands are red and your shoulders ache, but you're happy. The soup looks good and you know it'll feed a lot of people. Agnes walks by again and this time she pats your head. "Well done," she says. Your heart swells. You did it. You step back from the cauldron, wiping your hands on your tunic. The kitchen is still buzzing, but you feel like you've won a small battle. The other cooks are still working. Will's meat is golden now and he's turning the spit slower. Emma's pile of chopped vegetables is huge and she's wiping her hands on her apron. Tom's stacking more firewood, his face shiny with sweat. Meg's bread is out of the oven and the loaves are stacked on a table, ready to be cut. Bess scrubs pots and Jack sweeps the floor. En's grinding more barley, his hands steady. Everyone's tired, but everyone's pushing through. That's what the kitchen is: grit, endurance, and teamwork. Let's take one last look at the kitchen. Picture yourself standing by the cauldron, the fire glowing in front of you. The pottage bubbles, the meat sizzles, and the bread smells warm and toasty. Your hands are sore, your tunic is wet, but your heart is full. The cooks around you are working, laughing, and shouting. The kitchen is hot, loud, and messy, but it's your place. You're not just surviving, you're part of a big, important rhythm that feeds the castle. This is the medieval castle kitchen, and you're making it happen. Thanks for working hard with me in this sweaty, busy kitchen. The day's not over yet, and there's more to do. Next, we'll find out what it's like to live under the castle's rules, with powerful people watching your every move. So stay cozy, keep listening, and let's keep exploring this wild, wonderful world together. You're in the busy medieval castle kitchen, stirring a pot of soup when you glance up. Above the heavy wooden door, there's a carved picture, a crest. It's the Lord's special sign, like a logo for the castle's boss. The crest shows a lion with sharp teeth holding a sword. It's carved deep into the stone and the edges are worn from years of smoke and heat. That lion stares down at you and it feels like it's watching. The crest reminds everyone that the Lord is in charge and his power is strong, like a heavy chain you can't break. In this kitchen, you don't just cook, you follow rules or you're in big trouble. The kitchen is hot and loud, with pots clanging and the fire snapping. But the crest makes you feel quiet inside, like you need to be careful. The Lord's power isn't just in the crest, it's everywhere. You have to obey or bad things happen. Obeying isn't something you choose, like picking a game to play. It's how you stay safe. If you burn the food or drop a plate, you might get punished. That thought makes your tummy twist, like when you're nervous before a test. You grip your wooden spoon tighter and stir the soup, hoping you don't mess up. The Lord is the biggest boss in the castle. He's like the principal of a school, but way stricter. He lives in a fancy room with soft chairs and shiny plates, not like the smoky kitchen where you work. You've never seen him up close, but you've heard stories. His voice is loud and his eyes are sharp, like he can see every mistake. The Lord decides what food the kitchen makes, who gets the best meat, and who gets in trouble. His crest above the door is a reminder that he's always watching, even if he's far away in the Great Hall. Other people have power too. The knights, who wear shiny armor and ride horses, are important. They come to the kitchen sometimes, banging on the door and yelling for food. Last week, a knight named Sir Roland demanded a huge feast, even though the kitchen was almost out of flour. Mistress Agnes, the head cook, had to figure out how to make it work. She was grumpy for days, but she didn't say no to the knight. Knights are strong, and nobody wants to make them mad. You keep your head down when they're around, stirring your soup and staying quiet. Then there's the steward, a man named Master Hugh. He's the Lord's helper, like a vice principal. He walks through the kitchen every day, checking the food and counting the supplies. His boots click on the stone floor and his face is always serious. He carries a stick, and you've heard he uses it to hit people who break rules. You've never seen him do it, but the thought makes you shiver. When Master Hugh comes in, the cooks get quiet, like kids when a teacher enters the room. You stir your soup carefully, hoping he doesn't notice you. Mistress Agnes is the boss of the kitchen, and she's scary in her own way. Her voice is loud and she moves fast, like a hawk watching for mistakes. Her gray hair is tied back and her apron is always clean, even in the messy kitchen. If you spill soup or burn bread, Agnes will yell and her words sting like a slap. Do it right or you'll scrub pots till midnight, she says. But Agnes isn't mean. She wants the kitchen to be perfect because the Lord expects it. You try hard to make her happy, because her nod means you're doing okay. The kitchen is full of rules. You have to stir the soup just right, not too fast or too slow. You can't sneak extra food even if you're hungry. You have to bow your head if a knight or the steward walks by. Breaking rules can lead to bad punishments. You've heard whispers about a cook named Peter who burned the Lord's favorite venison, a kind of deer meat. The Lord was so angry that Peter was flogged, hit with a whip in the courtyard. Everyone heard his cries, and it made the cooks work harder. You don't want to be like Peter, so you check your soup, making sure it's not burning. Whispers are everywhere in the kitchen. When the fire crackles and the pots bubble, the cooks talk softly, sharing stories that make your heart beat fast. Emma, a young cook with quick hands, leans close and tells you about a servant who stole a loaf of bread. He was caught and locked in a cold room for a week with no food but water. Tom, a strong cook, whispers about a knight who threw a plate at a cook because the stew was cold. The cook didn't get flogged, but he had to clean the knight's armor for a month. These stories float around like smoke, making you careful with every move. The stories aren't just about punishment. Some are about the Lord's power in other ways. Will, the boy who turns the spit, says the Lord once gave a cook a silver coin for making a perfect pie. That cook was so happy he cried. But those stories are rare. Most are about mistakes and trouble, like the time the kitchen ran out of meat and the knights shouted at Agnes. She had to use old vegetables to make soup, and the Lord wasn't pleased. The cooks worked extra hard the next day, scared of what might happen. You listen to these tales and stir your soup, feeling nervous but focused. The kitchen's mood changes because of these stories. Some days everyone's quiet, like they're walking on eggshells. Other days the cooks laugh and joke, but their eyes keep darting to the door, checking for Master Hugh or Agnes. Today the air feels heavy, like a storm is coming. Emma says she heard a knight complaining about last night's dinner, and everyone's worried the Lord will be mad. You stir your soup a little faster, hoping your work is good enough. The crest above the door seems to watch you, and you feel small under its gaze. Let's think about why rules are so strict. Imagine your school with no rules, kids running everywhere, nobody listening. It would be chaos, right? The castle is like that, but bigger. The Lord needs everyone to follow orders so the castle stays strong. Knights fight battles, servants clean, and cooks feed everyone. If one person messes up, it affects the whole castle. That's why the Lord and his helpers are so tough. They want everything to work like a clock, with every piece in place. You're just a kid, but you're part of that clock and you have to keep ticking. The kitchen is hot and your tunic sticks to your skin. Sweat drips down your face and you wipe it with your sleeve. Your hands are sore from stirring, but you don't dare stop. Agnes is watching and the steward might come in any minute. You hear the door creak and your heart jumps. Is it Master Hugh? You peek over your shoulder and see it's just Will carrying more firewood. You relax, but only a little. The fear of getting in trouble is always there, like a shadow following you. Let's imagine a moment in the kitchen. You're stirring the soup and you accidentally splash some on the floor. Your tummy twists, you know Agnes will be mad if she sees. You grab a rag and wipe it up fast, hoping nobody notice. But Emma sees and whispers, "Careful or you'll be scrubbing pots." She's teasing, but you know she's right. You nod and stir more slowly, checking the soup to make sure it's perfect. The crest above the door feels like it's starring, and you try to focus, not wanting to be the next story the cooks whisper about. The kitchen is full of little rules you learn fast. Don't talk too loud when Agnes is near. Don't taste the food unless she says it's okay. Always bow your head if a knight walks in. These rules are like invisible chains keeping you in line. You're only 12, but you know breaking them could mean big trouble. Once you saw a boy drop a bowl, and Agnes made him carry water buckets all day. His arms were so sore he could barely move. You don't want that to happen to you, so you follow the rules even when they're hard. The steward, Master Hugh, is one of the scariest people. His boots make a loud click-click as he walks, and his stick taps the floor like a warning. When he comes in, the cooks get quiet, like mice hiding from a cat. He checks the pots, counts the sacks of flour, and writes things on a piece of parchment. You've heard he reports to the Lord, telling him if the kitchen is doing well. If he finds a mistake, someone gets punished. You stir your soup carefully when he's around, not wanting him to notice you. His eyes are sharp, like he can see every spill or burned crust. Knights are scary too, but in a different way. They're big, with loud voices and heavy armor that clanks when they move. Sometimes they come to the kitchen demanding food right away. Last month, a knight named Sir Thomas yelled because his stew wasn't hot enough. Agnes had to apologize, even though it wasn't her fault. The cooks worked extra hard that day, scared the Lord would hear about it. You don't like knights. They make the kitchen feel tense, like a storm cloud hanging over you. The Lord's power reaches every corner of the castle. Even when he's not here, his rules control you. The crest above the door is like his eyes, always watching. You've heard he sits in a big chair in the great hall, eating food the cooks make. If the food is bad, he gets angry and everyone suffers. Once a cook named Mary made a pie that was too salty and the Lord sent it back. Mary was so scared she cried, but she had to make a new one right away. You check your soup again, making sure it's just right. The whispers keep going, like a soft hum in the kitchen. Tom tells a story about a servant who spilled wine on the Lord's table. He was sent to the stables to shovel manure for a month. Emma says she heard about a cook who forgot to bake enough bread for a feast. The Lord made him stand in the courtyard all day, holding a loaf as a lesson. These stories make you nervous, but they also teach you to be careful. You don't want to be the next person everyone talks about. The kitchen's mood is like the weather, it changes fast. When the steward leaves, the cooks relax a little and someone might laugh. But when a knight comes in, everyone gets quiet, like they're holding their breath. Today, the mood is nervous because of the knight's complaint last night. Agnes is stricter than usual, checking every pot twice. You stir your soup and keep your head down, hoping the day goes smoothly. The crest above the door feels heavier, like it's pressing on your shoulders. Let's think about what it's like to be you in this kitchen. You're just a kid with a dirty tunic and sore hands. You're not a knight or a lord, you're a cook, small and unimportant. But you have to follow the same rules as everyone else. If you make a mistake, you could get yelled at or worse. That fear makes you careful, but it also makes you tired. You want to do a good job to make Agnes proud, but the rules are always there, like a heavy backpack you can't take off. What would you do if you worked in this kitchen? Would you be scared of Mistress Agnes, or would you try to make her smile? What about the steward? Would you hide when he came in? In the comments, tell me what rule you'd be most afraid to break and why. I bet you'd be super careful, just like me. Oh, and what would you do if a knight yelled at you? Would you stay quiet, or would you try to explain? I'm curious to know. The kitchen is tough, but it's also a place where you learn. Every rule teaches you something. Stir the soup right and it tastes good. Bow to the knight and he leaves you alone. Listen to Agnes and you avoid trouble. The Lord's power is scary, but it keeps the castle running. Without rules, the kitchen would be a mess and nobody would eat. You're part of that order even if it's hard. Your soup, your work, your careful steps, they all help the castle stay strong. Let's take one last look at the kitchen. Picture yourself standing by the cauldron stirring the soup. The crest above the door watches you, a reminder of the Lord's power. Agnes shouts, the steward's boots click, and the knight's voices echo. The air is hot, the stories are scary, but you keep going. You're small, but you're important. The kitchen is a place of rules and fear, but it's also your home. This is the medieval castle kitchen, and you're surviving under its iron grip. Thanks for staying with me in this strict, scary kitchen. The day's not over and there's more to see. Next, we'll find out what it's like to pray and believe in the castle, with rituals that fill the air with hope. So stay cozy, keep listening, and let's keep exploring this wild, wonderful world together. The medieval castle kitchen is loud and hot, but in a quiet corner, something special happens. You're stirring a pot of soup when you notice a cook named Meg standing by a small shelf. She's whispering soft words, her hands clasped together like she's talking to someone invisible. She's praying to Saint Lawrence, a special helper for cooks. The air around her smells waxy, like birthday candles, because a few tallow candles made from animal fat are burning nearby. Their tiny flames flicker, casting a warm glow on Meg's face. Her eyes are closed and her lips move gently, asking for help to make good food today. This corner feels different, like a calm spot in the busy kitchen, where hope and belief mix with the smoky air. You step closer, careful not to make noise. The corner is small, tucked between a stack of flour sacks and a stone wall. On the shelf, there's a little wooden figure of Saint Lawrence, carved with a kind smile. He's holding a gridiron, a metal grill, because a long time ago he was hurt on one for his faith. Cooks pray to him because he's their patron, like a guardian who watches over them. Meg's prayer is quiet, but you hear words like bless and protect. Her face looks serious, with lines around her eyes like she's carrying a heavy worry. She wants her bread to bake well so the Lord won't be angry. You feel a tingle in your chest, like the corner is a special place where wishes might come true. The kitchen is still busy, with pots clanging and the fire roaring, but the corner feels peaceful. The tallow candles give off a thick, greasy smell, not sweet like modern candles. Their light dances on the wall, making shadows that move like ghosts. You watch Meg finish her prayer and she opens her eyes, looking calmer. She takes a pinch of salt from a small bowl and walks to the hearth, the big fireplace where the fire burns. She tosses the salt into the flames and it crackles like tiny fireworks. Her face shows hope, like she believes the salt will bring good luck. You've seen other cooks do this, too, offering salt to the fire to keep the kitchen safe and the food tasty. You decide to try it. You grab a pinch of salt, its grains rough between your fingers, and walk to the hearth. The fire is hot and its heat warms your face, making you squint. You hold out your hand and sprinkle the salt into the flames. Pop, the fire sparks and you jump back, giggling. It feels like you're part of something big, like the fire is listening to your wish. You hope the soup you're making will be good, so Mistress Agnes, the head cook, will be proud. The hearth is the heart of the kitchen, and offering salt makes you feel connected to it, like you're sharing a secret with the flames. The kitchen is full of rituals like this. Rituals are special actions you do to show belief, like saying a prayer or making a wish. Every cook has their own way of asking for help. Emma, a young cook with fast hands, ties a tiny cloth to the shelf near St. Lawrence. She says it's for good luck, like wearing a favorite bracelet. Tom, a strong cook, touches the wooden figure of the saint before he carries heavy sacks, hoping it keeps him safe. Will, the boy who turns the spit, whispers a quick prayer when the meat starts to sizzle, asking for it to cook just right. These little acts make the kitchen feel sacred, like a church hidden in the smoke and noise. You look around and the cooks' faces tell stories. Some look hopeful, like Meg, believing their prayers will make the day better. Others look scared, worried about burning the bread or spilling the soup. A few, like Tom, look determined, their jaws set as they work hard to please the Lord. The kitchen is tough, and belief gives the cooks strength. They pray to St. Lawrence because he understands their hard work. He's like a friend who knows how hot the fire is and how heavy the pots are. You feel a little stronger, too, knowing someone might be watching over you. Let's think about why rituals matter. Imagine you have a lucky charm, like a special coin you rub before a game. It makes you feel brave, right? In the castle, rituals are like that. The cooks work long hours and mistakes can mean big trouble, like getting yelled at by Agnes or even punished by the Lord. Praying to St. Lawrence or offering salt to the fire makes them feel like they're not alone. It's like wishing on a star, but with candles and whispers. These beliefs help the cooks keep going, even when they're tired or scared. The kitchen smells mix with the rituals. The tallow candles have a heavy, oily scent that sticks in your nose. The fire gives off a sharp, smoky smell like a barbecue. The soup you're stirring smells earthy with hints of peas and herbs. There's also a warm, toasty scent from bread baking in the oven. Sometimes you catch a whiff of something yucky like old vegetables or sweaty clothes, but the candle smell makes the corner feel special. It's like the sacred part of the kitchen has its own perfume, different from the rest. The sounds are soft in the corner. Meg's whispers are like a gentle breeze, hard to hear over the fire's crackle. The candles make a tiny sizzling sound as they burn, like water on a hot pan. You hear the soup bubbling in the cauldron, a low gurgle that's almost calming. Outside the corner, the kitchen is loud. Pots bang, knives chop, and Agnes shouts orders. But here it's quieter, like a bubble of peace. You like this spot, where prayers and hopes feel stronger than the noise. Your tunic is sweaty from standing near the fire, and your hands are sticky from stirring the soup. You wipe them on your apron, leaving a smudge. Your shoes are dirty from the floor, which is covered in flour and ash. You're only 12, but you're part of the kitchen's rituals. You prayed to St. Lawrence this morning, asking for help with your work. You tossed salt into the fire, hoping it would keep the soup from burning. These little acts make you feel like you belong, like you're tied to something bigger than yourself. Let's imagine a story about Meg. She's been a cook for years and she's known for her perfect bread. But last week she burned a loaf and a knight complained. Meg was so scared she couldn't sleep, worried the Lord would punish her. She came to the corner early, lit a candle, and prayed to St. Lawrence for hours. Today her bread is baking and it smells amazing. She's hopeful again, her face soft as she whispers her prayers. You watch her, feeling glad she's okay. Her story makes you pray a little harder, hoping your soup turns out well. The kitchen has other saints too. Emma prays to Saint Martha, who's a helper for servants. She's like a super kind aunt who knows how to make everyone feel better. Tom sometimes talks to Saint Michael, a strong saint who fights evil. Will likes Saint Nicholas, who's good to kids. Each cook picks a saint who feels like a friend, someone to talk to when the kitchen gets tough. You like St. Lawrence best because he's for cooks, and you want to be a great cook someday. You touch his wooden figure, feeling the smooth wood under your fingers, and it's like he's saying, "Keep going." The hearth is a big part of the rituals. It's not just a fire, it's like a living thing, warm and powerful. Offering salt to it is like giving a gift to a friend. Some cooks offer other things, like a sprig of herbs or a drop of ale. Emma says the fire likes gifts and it helps the food taste better. You're not sure if that's true, but you like the idea. You toss another pinch of salt into the flames, watching it sparkle. The fire feels like a partner in the kitchen, helping you cook and keeping you warm. The corner with the candles and St. Lawrence isn't the only sacred spot. There's a small cross on the wall near the oven, carved into the stone. Cooks touch it when they pass, like saying hello to a friend. Some leave tiny gifts by the cross, like a flower or a pebble. You've seen Meg put a crust of bread there, saying it's for thanks. These little places make the kitchen feel like more than a workplace. It's a home for your heart, where you can hope and believe, even when you're tired. What would you pray for if you were in this kitchen? Would you ask St. Lawrence to help you make good soup, or maybe you'd pray for strength to carry heavy pots? In the comments, tell me what you'd wish for and why. I bet you'd have a special prayer. Oh, and what gift would you give the fire? Salt like me, or something else like a leaf or a berry? I'm curious to know. The kitchen is tough, but rituals make it easier. When you're scared of messing up, you pray and it's like a warm hug. When you're tired, you offer salt and it's like a spark of energy. The cooks around you do the same, their faces glowing in the candlelight. Meg's praying, Emma's tying her cloth, Tom's touching the saint. The kitchen is loud and sweaty, but these quiet moments make it special. You're not just cooking, you're part of a sacred rhythm, like a song that never stops. Let's take one last look at the corner. Picture yourself standing by the shelf, the candles glowing softly. Meg's whispers mix with the fire's crackle and the air smells like wax and smoke. Your soup bubbles nearby and your heart feels full. The kitchen is busy, but this spot is calm, filled with hope and belief. You're small, but you're part of something big, a world where prayers and fires keep the castle alive. This is the medieval castle kitchen, and it's woven with the sacred. Thanks for joining me in this quiet, special corner. The day's not over and there's more to see. Next, we'll find out what it's like to get sick and heal in the castle, with remedies that are strange but strong. So stay cozy, keep listening, and let's keep exploring this wild, wonderful world together. You're in the medieval castle kitchen, stirring a big pot of soup over a roaring fire. The kitchen is hot and sweat drips down your face. Your hands grip the wooden spoon tightly, pushing it through the thick soup. Suddenly you lean too close to the cauldron and a splash of hot broth lands on your hand. Ouch, it stings like a bee and your skin turns red, forming a small blister. The pain is sharp, like a needle poking you, and you drop the spoon with a clatter. Your eyes water, but you bite your lip, trying not to cry. In this busy kitchen, getting hurt happens, but you know you need to be tough to keep working. You shake your hand, hoping the pain will fade, but it doesn't. The blister burns and you can't hold the spoon anymore. Emma, a young cook chopping carrots nearby, sees you and frowns. "You okay?" she asks, her voice soft. You show her your hand and she nods. "Go to the herbwife," she says. "She'll fix it." The herbwife is the castle's healer, like a nurse who uses plants to make people better. You're nervous about leaving the kitchen. Mistress Agnes, the head cook, might get mad, but the pain is too much. You wrap a rag around your hand and head out, hoping to be back before anyone notices. The kitchen door creaks as you push it open and you step into the courtyard. The air is cooler here, a relief after the kitchen's heat. The ground is made of uneven stones and you walk carefully so you don't trip. Your hand throbs and the rag feels rough against the blister. The courtyard is busy, with servants carrying buckets, a cart rumbling by, and chickens clucking in a pen. You hear a horse neigh from the stables, and the smell of hay tickles your nose. Now you keep your head down, not wanting to bump into anyone. Your tunic is sweaty and your shoes are dusty from the dirt, but you focus on finding the herbwife. The herbwife's hut is on the edge of the courtyard, near a small garden. It's a tiny building made of wood and straw, with a slanted roof and a chimney puffing smoke. You knock on the door and a voice calls, "Come in." You push the door open and a wave of sweet, earthy smells hits you. The hut is warm, lit by a small fire in the corner. Shelves line the walls, filled with jars of dried leaves, roots, and sticky honey. Bunches of herbs hang from the ceiling, swaying gently. The floor is packed dirt and a wooden table holds bowls, a pestle, and a mortar for grinding plants. It feels cozy, like a secret hideout. The herbwife, an old woman named Goodwife Ellen, smiles at you. Her face is wrinkled like crumpled paper and her gray hair is tied in a loose braid. She wears a long dress with an apron stained with green and brown from her work. Her eyes are kind but sharp, like she can see right through you. "What's wrong, child?" she asks, her voice soft but strong. You hold out your hand, showing her the blister. It's red and puffy now, and it hurts when you move your fingers. Ellen takes your hand gently, her touch cool against your hot skin. "A burn, eh? We'll fix that," she says, turning to her table. Ellen grabs a small jar of honey and a bundle of green leaves. "This is comfrey," she says, holding up the leaves. "It helps burns heal. She explains that a poultice is like a special bandage made of plants and other stuff. She tears the comfrey leaves into tiny pieces and puts them in the mortar, a stone bowl. Then she adds a spoonful of honey, which smells sweet like flowers. She grinds it all together with the pestle, making a thick, gooey paste. The grinding sound is soft like a crunch, and the smell of comfrey is fresh like a garden after rain. You watch, fascinated, forgetting the pain for a moment. Ellen takes a clean cloth and spreads the paste on it. This will sting a little, she warns. She wraps the cloth around your hand, pressing the poultice against the blister. It feels cold at first, then warm, and the sting makes you wince. You bite your lip, trying to be brave. Ellen ties the cloth with a strip of fabric, making a snug bandage. Keep this on till tomorrow, she says. The comfrey will soothe the burn and the honey will keep it clean. You nod, feeling a little better already. The pain is still there, but it's softer, like a whisper instead of a shout. You sit on a stool while Ellen cleans her tools. The hut is quiet, except for the fire's crackle and the rustle of herbs. You look around, noticing little details. A clay pot holds dried lavender, its purple buds giving off a calming smell. A basket on the floor is filled with roots, knobby and brown. A small cross hangs on the wall, like the one in the kitchen, showing Ellen's faith. The hut feels safe, like a place where hurts can be fixed. Your hand still aches, but Ellen's kind voice and the cozy hut make you feel stronger. Let's think about why healing is hard in the castle. Imagine you get a cut at school and the nurse puts a band-aid on it. In the medieval castle, there are no band-aids or hospitals. If you get hurt, you go to the herbwife, who uses plants and old knowledge to help. There's no medicine like today, so you have to be tough. A burn like yours could get worse if it's not treated, and you might not be able to work. In the kitchen, you need to keep going, even when you're hurt. That's called resilience. It's like being a superhero who doesn't give up. The kitchen is full of ways to get hurt. The fire is hot and burns happen a lot. Last week, Will, the boy who turns the spit, touched a hot pan and got a blister on his finger. He went to Ellen and she gave him a poultice like yours. Knives are sharp, and cooks like Emma sometimes cut their hands while chopping vegetables. Tom, the strong cook, once dropped a heavy sack on his foot and it swelled up for days. Even small things, like a splinter from a wooden spoon, can hurt. The herbwife is busy, fixing all these problems with her plants and pastes. Sickness is a problem too. In the winter, cooks get coughs from the cold air. You've heard of a cook named Bess who had a fever last month. Ellen gave her a tea made from willow bark to bring the fever down. Sometimes people get tummy aches from bad food or dirty water. Ellen makes a drink with mint and chamomile to settle their stomachs. These remedies aren't like pills, they take time and you have to be patient. You're lucky your burn is small, but you know bigger hurts need more work to heal. Let's imagine a story about Tom. He's strong, but last year he cut his arm while butchering meat. The cut was deep, and he was scared he'd never lift heavy sacks again. He went to Ellen, who cleaned the wound with water and wrapped it with a poultice of yarrow, a plant that stops bleeding. Tom had to rest for days, which was hard because he loves working. But he listened to Ellen and his arm got better. Now he's back to carrying firewood, and he always thanks Ellen with a smile. His story makes you feel hopeful about your burn. It'll heal if you're tough. The herbwife's hut is like a treasure chest of healing. Besides comfrey and honey, Ellen uses lots of plants. Garlic helps fight sickness and it smells strong like spicy onions. Lavender soothes headaches and its scent is soft like a lullaby. Nettle leaves make a tea for sore throats, though they sting if you touch them raw. Ellen knows every plant like a friend and she mixes them with care. She also uses things like vinegar to clean cuts and wolf fat to make ointments. You're amazed at how much she knows, like a teacher with a book full of secrets. The hut's smells are wild. The comfrey and honey on your hand smell green and sweet. The fire gives off a smoky scent like a campfire. Dried herbs hang everywhere, adding a sharp, leafy smell. There's a faint whiff of something sour, maybe vinegar in a jar. The mix of scents makes the hut feel alive, like a garden inside a house. You take a deep breath and it's like the smells are helping you heal too. Your hand still stings, but the hut's magic makes it bearable. The sounds are gentle here. The fire crackles softly like a kitten purring. Ellen's pestle grinds herbs with a quiet crunch. A breeze rustles the herbs hanging from the ceiling like whispers. Outside, you hear faint courtyard noises, a cart rolling, a dog barking, but they're far away. The hut is a calm spot, different from the loud kitchen where pots bang and Agnes shouts. You like the quiet, it makes you feel safe, like nothing can hurt you here. Your tunic is still sweaty from the kitchen and your shoes are caked with dirt from the courtyard. Your hand aches under the poultice, but you're trying to be brave. You're only 12, but you know healing takes time. In the castle, you can't just rest when you're hurt. You have to keep working, stirring soup or carrying water. The herbwife's poultice is helping, but your resilience, your toughness, is what will get you through. You think about the cooks who keep going, even with cuts or coughs, and you want to be like them. What would you do if you got a burn like this? Would you be brave and visit the herbwife, or would you try to hide it? In the comments, tell me what you'd do and why. I bet you'd be super tough. Oh, and what plant would you want to learn about for healing? Comfreys like me or something else like lavender or mint? I'm curious to know. The kitchen depends on healthy cooks. If too many get hurt or sick, there won't be enough food. The Lord needs his feasts, the knights need their stew, and the servants need their porridge. Your burn is small, but it reminds you how important it is to stay strong. Ellen's poultice is like a promise you'll heal, but you have to keep working. The castle doesn't stop for a blister, and neither can you. You thank Ellen and she smiles, her eyes twinkling. Back to the kitchen, child, she says. You nod, ready to face the heat again. Let's take one last look at the hut. Picture yourself sitting on the stool, your hand wrapped in the poultice. The fire glows, the herbs sway, and Ellen hums a soft tune. Your burn stings, but the hut smells and sounds make you feel safe. The kitchen is waiting with its fire and noise, but here you've found a moment of healing. You're small, but you're tough, ready to keep going. This is the medieval castle kitchen, where hurts are fixed with plants and courage. Thanks for visiting the herbwife with me. The day's not over and there's more to see. Next, we'll find out what it's like to live with family and roles in the castle, where everyone has a place. So stay cozy, keep listening, and let's keep exploring this wild, wonderful world together. You're in the medieval castle kitchen, your hands sticky with dough as you knead it on a wooden table. The air is hot, and the fire crackles in the big hearth. Your tunic is dusty with flour, and your arms are tired from pushing the dough. You're only 12, but you work hard just like the other cooks. Your family, who lives in a village nearby, counts on you. They hope you'll send scraps of food, like bread crusts or vegetable peels, to help them eat. It's a big job and it makes you feel grown up, but also a little worried. In the kitchen, your work, your age, and whether you're a boy or a girl decide what you do every day. But even with all the rules, you find tiny ways to have fun, like sneaking a sip of the Lord's wine when nobody's looking. The kitchen is loud, with pots banging and cooks shouting. You're kneading dough because you're a girl, and girls usually do jobs like baking or mixing. Boys, like Tom, carry heavy sacks or cut meat. That's how it works in the castle. Your gender picks your path, like choosing teams in gym class. You don't mind kneading dough, though. It's squishy and warm, and you like shaping it into round loaves. But sometimes you wish you could try something else, like carrying firewood. You're strong, too, even if you're young. Still, you follow the rules because that's how the kitchen stays organized. Your family is always on your mind. You have a mom, a dad, and 2 little sisters in the village, a small place with muddy streets and straw-roofed houses. They're poor and food is hard to get. Your job in the castle gives you a chance to help them. At the end of the day, you collect scraps, bits of bread, carrot tops, or apple cores and tuck them into a cloth. Once a week, you send them to the village with a servant who passes by. It's not much, but it makes your sisters smile, and that makes you happy. Sometimes you wish you could send more, like a whole loaf, but you're careful not to take too much, or Mistress Agnes, the head cook, will get mad. The kitchen is busy, and you're surrounded by other cooks. Emma, a girl about 14, stirs a pot of soup, her hands quick as she mixes. She's good at cooking, and she dreams of being a head cook someday. Tom, a big man with strong arms, hauls a sack of flour, his boots thumping on the stone floor. He's kind, always helping younger cooks like you. Will, a boy of 10, sweeps the floor, his broom swishing across the dirt. Everyone has a job, and your age and gender decide what it is.